Hey everybody, hey traders, Chris Pulver here. Welcome back to the Pulver Report. It is Monday, February 20th. This is going to be a weekly outlook for my Flex trading room, my equities on demand trading room, and the Pulver Report for youtube.com/Chris Pulver and other social platforms out there that I stream on. So let's get into it. Let's begin with the risk disclaimer. We understand this risk in trading. Please always use trade capital only. Do not trade with money you cannot afford to lose, whether it's stocks, options, futures, forex, cryptos. You know the risks. Let's get into the economic calendar for this week. We have some earnings as well. This week, bank holiday for the US and Canada. Happy President's Day, everybody. This week will take us through the final trading week of February, and we'll wrap up the month on Tuesday, the 28th. Last week was pretty interesting. The market, so just think about this. The market's digested the FOMC rate decision where the Fed is raising rates. Right now, it looks like the Fed is anticipated to raise rates another two times in March and in May for 25 basis points each, which brings that potential or official cash rate up to 5 to 5.25. And we'll take a look at the CME watch tool in just a moment for the Fed. But we've digested the Fed rate decision. We've digested CPI data. I believe this week we have producer price index and other things. So let's look at that on the calendar here. We have PMI numbers coming out of the UK. We have CAD CPI numbers on Tuesday as well, this Tuesday morning. We have Aussie wage price index. We have the official cash rate from New Zealand expecting to raise rates again by another 25 or actually 50 basis points, bringing their OCR up to 4.75. That again stays slightly ahead of the US at this time. And of course, I'm curious to see what the Kiwi brings to the table. I noticed that currency strength overnight, the Aussie was on top. So the market's not necessarily pricing in a stronger New Zealand dollar, but we are getting some nice flow in China and some growth and some accommodative narrative. And so the Australian dollar is really taking the benefit over the New Zealand at this time. But that makes me pretty interested in a currency pair like the Aussie versus the New Zealand for forex trading and see if this 4.75 versus the RBA, which is the Reserve Bank of Australia, their rate is sitting around 3.35. So if that slight differential goes in favor of the New Zealand dollar, we might have a nice sell trade coming in the next couple of weeks. What else we have? FOMC minutes. We have G20 meetings this week. Preliminary GDP, core PCE price index on Friday. So that'll be something to digest. We have personal spending. We have producer price index, things like that. Then the market's going to have to see how this whole inflation game plays out. But I remain cautiously bullish on everything and just kind of making sure I'm positioned accordingly. For my top weekly pick for the Pulver Report for my newsletter, I did a basically reverse iron condor. That's a fancy way of having a credit spread on top, credit spread on the bottom, looking for a breakout. And last week I ended up closing out for about $100 profit, which was better than considering the price itself that I took the trade on. It was on the Qs, so the QQQ. Let me go into the charts here. So I took a trade on the Q. I straddled the highs, I straddled the lows. I was in about $200 to $300 of profit max during the day, and I was tracking this all day on Friday last week before the close. You can see the close here is at 301.16, and I had a 301 by 302. So I was really, really close to having full profit on this trade. But if I let it go through expiration, I would have been assigned short at 301, and I didn't want to do that. So I also didn't want to be assigned long at 310. So long story short, I ended up closing out for a net profit of about $100. My max profit on this trade would have been about $400, and it's fine, whatever. I'll take it. And then this is what I'm looking to do, though. I'm still watching for eventually we're going to get a breakout this way, or we're going to get a breakout this way. And when that happens, I want to be short to the downside. I want to be long to the upside. So depending on where Tuesday's open is at, if we come back into the middle, I'm probably going to issue another trade that's very similar. I'm looking for an in the money bull put spread here, an in the money bear call spread here. And I will do this most likely on the Qs, most likely on the SPY, possibly even on the DIA if we can collect enough credit on those credit spreads. So basically what I'm saying is the stock market for the most part is pretty directionless. A lot of indecision going on right now, but once we get a break, I would expect that we have some momentum behind it, whether it's bullish or bearish. There could be momentum behind some currency pairs as well that will illustrate this kind of risk on, risk off flow. And we've talked about monitoring the dollar for the last several weeks. The dollar's been a big story since last year, of course. And we'll see what happens coming into this week's trading. So with this low to this high, are we going to have a continuation to the upside on the dollar? Are we looking to pull back a little bit towards equal lows, then have a higher low where the dollar pushes higher? I'm still pretty bullish on the dollar into this pocket around 108 to 110. I think that's a nice profit area if I'm long US dollar. Oil continues to stay pretty soft. We're not making new highs. We're not making new lows. I think there's a massive level of supply. Actually, it'd be demand down here, but a massive level of support around $65 to $60 if we get that low. I think the pain trade on oil is anything sub 70. That would flush out a lot of the longs. That would discourage a lot of the bulls, and that might be a bit of that contrarian play where price comes down to an attractive level. Everyone that's been holding long in here gets beat up, and then we see the bottoms actually form. Or in the other case is the sellers actually look at this area to take profit, and there's profit taking, and there's a bit of a relief and a squeeze to the upside. So if oil can come down between 70 and 60, I'm looking to get long on oil, especially with a nice juicy target up here around 94. That's a yearly pivot. So I think oil looks pretty good from that perspective. Gold and silver, they're going to be dependent on the dollar. We've had a stronger dollar, so we've had weaker gold. We continue to see a stronger dollar. We're probably going to continue to see weaker gold. But if the dollar starts to pull back, we might have an up week on gold. We'll have to wait and see for kind of how price action plays out with the dollar. But medium term, I like gold in this area. Previous high, previous low. This is a nice little support zone structure wise on gold. If we start to slowly work our way into that support level, I look for some confirmation and a trend line break in here. If we can take back 1850, putting in a higher low, perhaps I think gold looks better to the upside, and we might see a weaker dollar from there. So I still like gold long. It just depends on where you're getting some good confirmation. I still like silver long, and it could be now-ish. Now is not a bad spot. We're coming back into some equal lows, previous resistance. But if we settle in a little bit lower, anything sub 20 on silver, I'm just going to continue to load back into silver and stay long. Hopefully, we'll see a higher low. You know, right? Nice rounded out level here. There's a high. Looking for a higher low. So if we have a low, we have a high, we have a higher low in this area. It'd be nice to see silver take off to the upside and hit 29 to 30 bucks. All right. So I'll be watching silver pretty closely. Some good range levels here around 29 to $30. Crypto, take a look at Bitcoin and Ethereum. We're trading at 24,768. We had a good week last week on Bitcoin. Nice little run to the upside. This has been another charge with a bit of a pullback. We've ran up about 17.5% since last week, which is pretty solid. I've talked about two levels here. I said we're either going to pull back towards 20K and be a nice little buy zone, or we're going to make our way up towards this yearly pivot around 27. And there may be some momentum to the upside around this 30K mark. I still wouldn't be surprised if we do pull back to 20K. But if we don't, okay, fine. I mean, I'm still holding my BTC. I'm still holding ETH. And, 27 is great. 30 is awesome. Anything to the upside would probably get a lot of speculators excited once again after this big flush out, especially. I'm not really sure what to make of it other than watch your levels, set some chart alarms. 20K it wouldn't surprise me on a pullback, and a melt up or drift up towards 26.7, 26,700 towards that yearly pivot, or a nice round number and a big breakout point here at 30K. I think we can get there. Okay, so I'll be keeping an eye on Bitcoin like I do every week. Same thing with Ethereum. We do have some overbought conditions. I just want to be cautious of a bit of a bull trap here with these overbought conditions plus divergence. But we do have a yearly pivot around 1985. Let me set a chart alarm on that. So I'll put 1990. So 1990 chart alarm there. It's going to be the yearly pivot. I'll keep an eye on that or a pullback. So either we melt up to 1990 or we pull back towards 1500. And I'll be watching Ethereum for that. Okay, copper. Take a look at some copper futures. Copper, nice little run since the close of last week. This should have helped some positions. We have FCX. We've been riding this one out for a while. 41.74. Any dips and pullbacks, I like FCX. Any dips and pullbacks, I like Alcoa. What other? I'm kind of thinking material plays here. CLF, Cleveland Cliffs. This is steel trading at 1982. X trading at 2802. We had some credit spreads for full profit last week. We had a 26 by 25 on X. We had a 17 by 16 on CLF. And we have a couple running out to March in Alcoa. So let's flip over into some currencies here. Aussie CAD, I'll go through the list. So I'm looking for, we're currently short on Aussie CAD, looking to get back down towards this yearly pivot around 91. Anything 9100 or lower, taking some profit. Aussie Swiss, I still like long. If this is in fact a bullish pattern, this low having a nice little swing. I'm looking to see if we have some symmetry to the upside. Take out this level here, come back up towards 67, 67.50 on Aussie Swiss. Yen crosses, I talked about this last week in Masterflex on Friday. My yen pairs are essentially short-term trading only. Stick to a 1 hour alignment, look at a buy zone, sell zone, go down to a 50-minute time frame, and see if you can get some nice precise entries. Go after 1 to 1s, go after 1.5 to 1s. As far as reward to risk, I think those are pretty good alignments because the JPY crosses continue to give us pretty good day-to-day volatility. Aussie New Zealand, we're at 110.49. We had a spike up towards nearly 111. And again, with a rate decision this week, I'm curious to see how price plays out. I'm not doing anything on Aussie New Zealand, but I want to see what happens. If the RBNZ comes in and raise rates, with miss monthly pivot right there, just above the 111 handle. But again, pretty efficient currency pair. I think we tapped that monthly pivot, so that's not available. We have a weekly pivot right here. We have this week's pivot as well. So if we spike up into this area here, possibly this higher, this weekly pivot, we might see some resistance and then have a pullback. And again, I'm really wondering if this is a higher low and we're still making our way up to a higher high. So any pullbacks, maybe we are considering a buy on dip on the Aussie New Zealand. But I'm also looking at that potential roll trade or carry trade where the RBNZ is going to be a higher interest rate than the RBA. Aussie dollar, we're currently short, having a pullback right now, but I'm still short from around 69.95. CAD Swiss, I'm still holding long, looking to see if we can break some of these highs above. Now that I see this, I'll set a chart alarm at the low. That's around 67.75. So recent lows right there. That's CAD Swiss. I'm still long. CAD Yen, short term. Swiss Yen, short term. Alignments are bullish for right now in CAD Yen, Swiss Yen. Euro Aussie, nice turn to the downside. We're going to see if we can revisit this trade. We have a pending order around 52.80 to buy support, see if we can trade this range for right now on the Euro Aussie. So pending order down here to buy low. That's it for right now. Euro CAD, we're short. We were short at 46, took profit at the equal lows at 42.50. Now we're waiting. This may set up a right shoulder if this is an equal low. So left shoulder, head to neckline, right shoulder. See if this wants to drop towards that yearly pivot. A couple other trades I'm looking at is either we sell it in here, but the halfway point if we're anticipating a right shoulder, or we see if price can come back up to equal highs around 4,600, shorted up here, take it back down. Target one is the lows, which we've already seen, and possibly continuation down to target two, which is our EMA cluster as well as a yearly pivot. So either selling a right shoulder or selling equal highs, but I still like short on the Euro CAD, just like I like long on the CAD Swiss. Euro Swiss, 98.59. Just going to hang tough. I'm still holding long on this one. Euro Pound, no trade for right now. Euro Yen, stick to short term. Euro New Zealand, still choppy, but we've been watching this area. We're getting a bit of a breakout here on the Euro New Zealand. I want to watch this one closely, especially with a rate decision coming soon, because if we stay above this resistance area, then I would look to see if we can continue this breakout to the upside. Okay, there is room. I mean, that high is around 7,500, so we're trading at just shy of 71. There's still 400 pips of upside potential. However, if we break quickly back down, then we could see that positive rollover, a New Zealand dollar strength and resiliency, and come back down towards 67. So if the Euro New Zealand comes back down into this range, I would look for some short-term alignments on Masterflex 15, 30-minute time frames and see if we can sell it back down towards lows. But if we stay above all this, we stay above range resistance, we just continue to make higher highs and higher lows, then there's room up to 75. So we're looking for a bit of a breakout trade on this one, or see if it comes back in the range and we can trade it back the other way. Euro dollar, 106.85. I'm continuing to hold short at 108. So I like short. We have a nice little yearly pivot and lows between 106 and 105. So I'm going to hold Euro dollar short. Pound Aussie. I'm going to look to see if Pound Aussie can settle back into this area right here. It's around 7,100. 1.71 to 1.70. I like this area looking for a long trade. Okay. But nothing yet. I'm going to wait. Pound CAD. Some traders shorted up here. I missed my double top entry. We have a yearly pivot around 5,900. If traders were short, I was encouraging 6,000 or lower protecting profit. It's trading around 62 right now. We had recent lows just above that 6,000 handle. Those lows are around 60.85. So if you shorted up here around 67, still about 500 or 600 pips to the downside. So we'll see what happens on this one. It could just be a nice little correction where connect the highs, connect the lows, plays out like so. Looking for some potential past resistance becoming support in this area, just between maybe 5,900 and 5,800. But at the current moment, I don't have a trade going on pound CAD, pound Swiss. Looking to see if this 1100 support will hold. Pound yen, stick to the short term. Pound New Zealand, still choppy, but respecting these levels. There's some good structure in here to buy and sell. So if we can align some shorter term timeframes, I like this area for resistance to sell. I like this area for support to buy. So looking to stay within the structure for right now. Pound US dollar. We shorted at the highs at 24, took profit below 1.20. No trade on this one at the moment. New Zealand CAD, traders have been short. We come off this yearly pivot. I'm looking for bounces. So between yearly pivot, I would just really from, let's just say 84 down to 80. If I did 84, 82, and 80, that'd be three levels that I could say, okay, I think I'm going to get some support in here and then see if we can revisit the highs. So I'm looking at possibly leveling in on New Zealand CAD and leveling in long and taking this back up to the highs. So that'll be a trade we probably discuss this week in Flex. New Zealand Swiss, um, still looking at head and shoulders potential. This is a neckline. So if we break above this, I like this bullish pattern to the upside. If we come back down for whatever reason to these lows, I'm still going to be long and I'm still going to take it back up towards this structure or these highs. So if it's not a head and shoulders where we break the neckline, it may be a double bottom where we hold these levels around 5,500. And I look to stay long. New Zealand yen, no trade on this one. New Zealand dollar, equal levels. You can see some range trading right now. Possibly a buy trade off those lows in the short term with a tight stop. Low risk to high reward. Possibly a, let's say, 100 pip stop loss for a move back to 65, which is about 300 pips to the upside. So not too bad for a setup. Dollar CAD, no trade on dollar CAD. Dollar Swiss holding long still, getting a pullback, but that's fine. I'm going to stay long on dollar Swiss for one positive rollover, two nice little falling wedge structure, and three pockets and pivots that have been missed to the upside, and looking for some oversold conditions. Dollar yen trading at 134. If you're just following short term, you're long. Trade we talked about last week. The peso is still pushing lower. We're going to look for some confirmation on this one to see if we can get a yearly pivot trade. So it's not ready yet. Okay, but maybe just a simple trend line break over here and looking for some bullish patterns, we get a move back up to this yearly pivot. We've already kind of lined this up to see if we can get 10,000 plus pips on the peso, but it's not ready yet. So I'll be watching that one closely. Dollar Singapore, we're getting a bit of a pullback. I'm going to add on pullbacks. So any type of dip or pullback towards, let's say, 3,200. Yeah, 32 to 32.50. I'm looking for a pullback to buy, taking the dollar Singapore up to the yearly pivot and up to this pocket around 38 to 3,900. So that wraps up a lot of currencies. Earnings wise this week, take a look at some notables. Big earnings on Tuesday. I think we have over 500 companies reporting this week and a short holiday trading week. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Walmart, Home Depot, Toll Brothers, Coinbase. That'll be interesting. Baidu, some Chinese stocks. Baidu, Teladoc Health, Etsy. Let's see, Nvidia. That's a big one for semiconductors. eBay for retail sales. Alibaba. That's Chinese as well as Baidu. Wayfair, retail sales. Domino's Pizza, kind of like Chipotle. Just a staple food chain. Let's see here. Square, that's tech. Beyond Meat, that'll be a big one. We have some credit spreads running the 15 by 20s. See if those play out. And that's kind of it. So like I said, there's like 500 some companies, but these are some of the big notables. And it'll be a busy week. Even though it's a short trading week, it will be busy. So if you have any questions, let me know. If you're watching this video on YouTube, I appreciate the thumbs up, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll see you on Friday for a weekly recap and a live session. Flex traders, I'll see you this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Equities on Demand students will resume tomorrow live at 10 a.m. Eastern time and continue to trade. So thanks for being with me this week. Happy trading, lots of profits, and I'll see you all very soon. Thanks. Bye.